New Year.
Happy New Year, Phil.
2024, I can't believe it. Thanks for coming out today. This is our January town hall meeting, obviously. Our next one is scheduled for April, but we may add one this season, probably in the February time frame. So just keep an eye on your communications. We're going to look at some dates and see if we can add one in, because obviously these are good forums to provide updates. So as always, we'll have a Q&A session at the end. So if you would hold your questions until the end, and Mr. Franzen, our board president, will join us up here at the front to answer any questions you all have. As far as our agenda today, Mike McDonald is going to give us a project update. I'm going to talk about, provide a little bit more explanation on what you can expect when our new bar layouts are complete. If you all, anyone who attended the November town hall, I did kind of a deep dive on the kitchen and how that layout is going to translate to the services out front. I'm going to attempt to do something similar with the bar layouts. Then we'll do a brief operations update. I will do a talk briefly on pickleball and the related parking as far as that project, just kind of update everybody on the timing of that. As always, our goal is to clarify community chatter. What I've been hearing recently is that we're over budget and the project won't be complete till 2026 or 2027. Both of these are false. So hopefully we'll let you leave today with a little bit more clarification on that. So at this time I'll bring Mike up and pass the clicker on to him, as well as the microphone. Thanks, Mike.
You're welcome, Joe. Look forward to seeing you on the tennis court. For those who don't know, Joe is going to take on one of our A players and one of our B players in a doubles match. He's paired up with our professional tennis teacher and coach, Elias. That's in February, middle of February.
Yes.
So we're going to put his new hip.
I had a hip replacement.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to put that to the test. Good afternoon, everybody. Quick rundown. The project mobilized in the field in middle November. We got the Golf U building and the pool area cleaned out under the existing permit that we had for demolition. We're in a lull right now. We're about a week from our full building permit being granted. We'll cover that, those milestones here in a second. That's what's left of the pool equipment area that's being torn apart. Everything's cleaned up. The yellow post you'll see out there behind the fence, these are the on-site cameras that are taking 24/7 video of the action being stored in the cloud, so we can recover any video that we need of the construction. I think we have 3 of those stationed out there, plus Joe's doing the drone. So, a good recap. So I know you can't read this. This is our budget recap. We have our guaranteed maximum price contract signed with Heatherwood Construction, $10.7 million, a little bit under. That's a fully bonded guarantee now. We have basically an insurance policy. If Heatherwood goes out of business for any reason, their bonding company will step up and bring another contractor and complete the work. So we're as bonded and insured and guaranteed that we will finish the project for the budgeted money as anyone can be. The lower half of the numbers, those are the things we're doing as a club. So we have a contract with a geothermal company. We save the markup that Heatherwood would have charged by doing that directly, so our pool will be heated by geothermal. We have a signed contract with our kitchen supplier for $1.5 million, which is the hoods and all the kitchen equipment. Again, we signed that to lock in pricing, which those items can really escalate. We have our design fees and so forth. So everything is on budget at $14,070,150. So we will not, and we have in hand contingency funds about $465,000, uncommitted funds that, in case anything should occur unexpectedly. Again, not intended for you to read this, but we had a lengthy list of submittals. Some of you have heard this at the HOA or the council meeting. The contractor has prepared a list with dates of everything they're going to submit to the architect and engineers for review. Before any materials are ordered on a project, a submittal has to be prepared. Technical brochures, measured drawings, anything that the architect needs to know so that he can verify that the products as proposed meet his requirements for quality and the correct quantity of everything is shown. So this lengthy 2-page document lists everything we're anticipating and when it's going to come in from Heatherwood via their subcontractors. So no material shows up on site, no products, no pipe, no gravel, no concrete, nothing shows up on a site until it's checked off this list, the architect reviews and approves it. So that ensures we have the right brand of product, we have the right quantity of things, whether it's windows, the right roof tile, etc. So down to the nails and screws, everything has to be as specified, so nothing slips by and shows up and it's a substandard product. So this is a critical list to track, and this goes on in the order that we need things. So the things at the bottom of the list are like carpeting and light fixtures or things that don't take a long time to get. This also clues us into anything that does take a long time to get. So we know certain components of the main electrical system can take up to 6 months to get. So those items would be early on the list versus some other electrical things might be later on the list. That way we get that product in, reviewed, approved, and ordered. A quick look at our schedule. As I'm forecasting it, we're supposed to be in the building around January 1st. I think that's going to slide a few weeks based on the permitting progress, but we are in the 14-month construction phase, and we have at least 12 months in front of us. We don't control the schedule. The committee's never guaranteed the schedule. We guaranteed you we wouldn't spend more than $14.2 million. We guaranteed you you'd get almost everything you saw of the amenities, and that holds true. I think the only thing we really cut from this project was the expansion of the main dining room. Everything else that you've seen is in the project at the price, because you can't control all three functions. You can't have everything you want as cheaply as it can come and get it tomorrow. So something has to flex, and for us it's the schedule. We also don't control the workforce. Heatherwood's got subcontractors lined up for all the trades, but sometimes with high demand for labor right now, the work will go as best as we can push it, but we can't force things uphill. If there's not enough electricians in a certain week, then we're going to have what we have. So the schedule is in flex. Our goal is to get us all in by next season, around the first of the year. So let's talk about the building permit. It's taken us 6 months to get to a building permit, and we don't quite have it, but we should have it the end of this week or next. So we submitted in late July for our building permit. It took the county 3 months to review the documents. They did a mediocre job at that. We got about 25 pages of comments, and I say mediocre because of dozens of the comments. The answers to their questions were in the documents. They just didn't look for them carefully enough. One example, the FEMA reviewer cited us for exceeding the 50% value of improvement rule. If you're in a floodplain, and this goes for anyone in this club as well, if you live in a floodplain, you can't spend more than half the value of your property improving the property. So they cited us for being in violation of the 50% rule because we're in a floodplain. They neglected to look at the drawings that showed we're 4 feet above the floodplain. So in our response, which came 5 weeks after we received these comments, we turned their attention to the drawings that they had in their possession that showed us an elevation of 16 and a half, with flood levels of 11, 11 and a half, something like that. So again, the county does what the county does. It took them 3 months to generate a bunch of comments. Some were legitimate, many were not. So we responded within 5 weeks to those comments. They sent us some more comments 2 days before Christmas. We responded to those comments this morning. We also applied for a phase permit last week because we were using our consultant. We've tracked which departments in the county have approved the drawings in their little area of review and which have not. So we passed the 3 critical areas of review, the engineering, the site, and FEMA. So we've actually last week applied for an early phase permit, which we should get within 1 week, 2 weeks max from today. It'll probably coincide with the whole building permit coming through, but that's where we are with the county. We don't really need them until the end, because we've hired this consultant who the county recognizes. They're going to do all of our inspections except the site work. And again, we did that to facilitate the time element. So if Heatherwood needs an inspection tomorrow morning at 7 a.m., we know our consultant will be there. If we ask the county to be there tomorrow at 7 a.m., we can guarantee they won't be there. You go into the system, you go online, you schedule your request, et cetera, et cetera. So it takes a few days. So we're going to short circuit all of that bureaucracy by having Elite Permits and Naples on staff, and they'll be doing all of our inspections. So one way or the other, we'll be resuming construction activity in full within 1 to 2 weeks, and then it's blow and go until we're done. And I think that's it for the update. Questions now, Mike?
Okay.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, I can tell you from experience, we've permitted the temporary facilities separately. It's kind of its own project, if you will. And let's see, we moved out of those facilities, out of the clubhouse into the temporary facilities in August. I think I submitted the temporary permits in May, and we just got our final electrical approval from the county December 15th. So it's just it's a long, lengthy process. So, okay. So I want to talk through the new bar designs for the Lakeview Lounge and the Pool Cafe. And I'm going to try my best to paint a picture here of what you're looking at. So this is the Pool Cafe bar. Obviously, kind of octagonal in shape. You're seating all the way around the bar. And I'm focused on 3 areas here. So this is the center island, which this area of the bar includes beer taps, draft beer taps, and cooler storage, bottle and glass and cooler storage underneath, refrigerator storage. And then on either side of the bar, you have these rows of equipment, okay? And basically, these 2 equipment lines mirror each other on each side of the bar. So the way that is set up, and I'll get to this in a second, but having 2 completely identical bar stations for 2 bartenders to work it increases efficiency as it is. The other 2 areas I have highlighted here, again, this is the Pool Cafe, so keep in mind, these are 2 Island Oasis frozen drink machines. We know just from what's happened at other clubs and past experience, these bars are very popular with frozen drinks, frozen margaritas, frozen rum runners, Miami Vices, all those. These are actually machines that produce these, so again, speed up style service. So that's an addition that we're going to have in the outdoor bar area. So a few other service enhancements. Again, keep in mind seating all the way around this bar and identical equipment setups on both sides of the bar with a shared island in the middle. So this bar outside is going to give us 2 frozen drink machines, 2 completely separate bartender stations, which we don't have this at either bar today. 2 point of sale systems, so the point of sale terminals that we ring your drinks up. 2 separate independent stations, so again, we're not going to have bartenders fighting over 1 computer screen. The center beer island, which is accessible from both sides. So you've all seen this at sports bars or whatnot around the town. We'll have the draft beer towers that come up with taps on both sides so that they're accessible by both bartenders. This bar is going to have 8 double-sided beer taps, so we'll have a rotating selection of 8 draft beers on tap. And the key here with the outdoor bar is everything's going to be plasticware disposable. It has to be because it's outdoors around the pool. But you'd be surprised, that alone speeds up service quite a bit. Just with, one of the risks with tending bar is breaking glass. It happens all the time. It happens all the time at the club. When we break a glass behind like the Lakeview Lounge, typically it happens right over an ice well. So that means we have to fire up the hot water, we have to melt all that ice, we have to clean all the glass out, and this usually happens when we're the busiest. So that alone, having the plasticware at the pool, not only is it a safety concern for the pool deck itself, eliminating that possibility at the bar, the point of service, is a big enhancement for speed. We're going to have easily accessed service stations for our servers. So this area right out front here, this is actually on the front side of the bar that our pool servers will be able to access to get soft beverages, mixers. There'll be an ice bin there to fill iced teas or anything else, so that, again, it's not an item they need to bring into the bartender to just make me a Diet Coke. The servers will be able to access that right at that station. And again, between both bars, we're going to have nearly 4 times as many bar seats as we have today at the Lakeview Lounge and the Seaside Bar. So this is a top-down look at the redesigned Lakeview Lounge bar layout. This opening here, this is the doors, the nano walls that go out to the patio terrace off the Lakeview Lounge. And we have a lot of similarity here between the pool cafe, primarily with how our stations are set up. Again, we have this equipment that surrounds the bar, a little bit more equipment in this bar, and the reason for that is we have glassware in the Lakeview Lounge. So we'll have glass washing machines behind the bar. You also need a lot more counter space to store beer glasses and rocks glasses and so forth. But the key here is that there's 2 identical stations. So we will be able to staff 2 bartenders who work independently of each other, have the same setups, the same beverages, the same liquors, so on and so forth, on both sides of the bar, which again improves efficiencies. In this bar, as I said, 2 bartender stations, 2 point-of-sale stations, center beer island, nearly identical to what we have outside. So it'll be a center beer island with center beer taps, 8 taps, accessible from both sides. So the bartender working here, as well as the one working here, will have access. In this bar, the center island, we have refrigerated storage for frosted beer mugs, beer glasses. So again, right below the draft beer area is your storage for your glassware. This has a very, very much increased glass and bottle storage. The Lakeview Lounge, which saw most of our activity previously, we really struggled with storage. We had one point of sale system, and it was just a one long bar. Essentially, it was one long station. So all of our well products were at one end of that bar. So even on the nights that we would staff multiple bartenders, they were still working over each other to get various product. Or even just to go and ring up drinks or tender tickets, they were fighting for one computer screen. We will have glass washing at this bar. That is a big benefit. That really eliminates the need to run glassware back to the kitchen. Bar-specific glassware like rocks glasses, martinis glasses, they can wash and reuse right there at the bar. Same thing here. We have a service area for our servers that is accessible from the front side of the bar. So again, in the past, bartenders would not only make mixed drinks, they would also have to do soft beverages for servers. And depending on what the server needed for a particular table, determined where they would go. So for example, if a table only ordered soft beverages, they would mostly go, the server themselves would go and get their soft drinks from the kitchen area. But if they had a table with 2 draft beers and 2 iced teas or 2 sodas, they would order it all through the bartender because they had to go to the bar anyways, trying to reduce the number of steps. This gives them the ability to send their drink orders to the bar, but also service their own soft beverages right there at the bar. That takes a lot of pressure off the bartenders. And then again, just the same, same point as the last slide. Between the bars, we're going to have nearly 4 times as many bar seats. And I think some of that's still in flux right now because until we really finalize the interior design, the size of our bar seats, bar stools, determines how many we can get around the bar. But we are certainly going to have 4 times as many seats as we have now. Lastly, I touched on this last month related to some of the enhancements in the kitchen that are specific to the beverage operation. So the big thing here that we're really excited about is this cooler up here. So this is a walk-in cooler that is going to be designated just for draft beer kegs. And what's neat about this is there will be draft lines that are run underneath our foundation to each of the center islands at each bar, from this cooler to each of the center islands. And our kegs, when they're delivered, get delivered to this cooler. They get hooked up to the lines right there, and they never have to leave that cooler to go to the bar. So the beer is just fed through the slab up to the center bar islands at each bar. This is pretty commonplace. These types of systems became popular probably 10 or 15 years ago, and they increase efficiency and speed tenfold. Just the time it takes for us, as it is now, all of our kegs are serviced right there behind the bar. So every time that keg is empty, someone has to unhook that keg, run it back to the kitchen, load up a new one, put it on a dolly, wheel it all the way through the dining room out to the bar. This never has to leave the kitchen. So we expect that to improve just a lot of service speed. This whole area back here is a dedicated service area, and I have this section here highlighted. This is another soft beverage location for the servers. We really didn't have this area previously. The kitchen, I'm sure a lot of you remember past photos that we had shared, but the kitchen was very kind of broken up and segmented. We really didn't have a dedicated service area. So this alleyway alone is going to improve service substantially. And having a drink station for the servers that is completely separate from the kitchen and all other areas to keep them from essentially running into each other is going to speed things up as well. So in that area, we're going to have fountain drinks that servers can fill right there, ice wells, iced tea machines, coffee service will all be available there. Previously, all those items were in like 3 locations in our old setup. And then lastly, this is more of a aesthetic feature, but again, I just like to point it out because it's going to be neat. This is right off of the lobby entrance. So this is a wine and liquor storage room, and this will have a glass window in the front, so you'll be able to see wine bottles stored. It'll be backlit, and then this will provide some storage for us, quite a bit of storage actually, for backup liquor, backup bottled beer, anything we want to put back there. And the nice thing about this is it's kind of in a central location between all the bars. You know, so the lobby area and the atrium is kind of central in the club. You know, previously all of our backup inventory for beverage was at the furthest point of the kitchen. Actually, I can show you here. This is our service entrance. So this doesn't exist as it's shown here today, but our inventory for beverage product, backup wine, beer, fountain drinks, sodas, we store it all in a storage room back here, which is like the furthest point from all the areas where we actually provide it for member service. So having this storage area up front, centralizing it, again, for us it's all about reducing the number of steps through the service. So that's going to make a big difference as well. Before I get to this, I don't have any slides on pickleball or the related parking, but I just wanted to touch on that. I think everybody's aware, and I believe it was the October board meeting, the board approved to separate pickleball and the associated parking from the 2.0 project and address it in the 24-25 fiscal year with funds from our resale capital fund, which is all of our new homes pay into that fund. I had some residents ask me recently when that project is starting, so I wanted to touch on that today. That is not on the committee's plate right now. So it's something on my plate, and we essentially have to file a new site development plan for that project, and we can't have two of those in place at the same time. We have one right now that is active for Countryside 2.0. Now we can make a variance to that plan and add it in, and right now I'm thinking that's probably the direction we're going to go. But the pickleball and parking, the schedule for that is to start construction sometime in the 2024-2025 fiscal year, after we get the clubhouse project finished up. So between now and then, there's a lot of planning, engineering, design that goes into place related to that project. And we really can't do any of that work until we get back into the clubhouse, break down our temporary facilities, open up the parking areas that we've lost now due to the construction, because we're going to disrupt some parking related to that project. So you're going to hear more about that as we get through this year. What I'm working on now, or will be in the next 60 to 90 days here, is just some of the planning and design for that, and then we will finalize that. It'll be formally presented to the board as part of our 24-25 budget. And we'll have a design and lay out an actual plan, but that's the time frame for that. So if you have any questions on pickleball or parking, or you hear anything out in the community, feel free to forward it my way. We haven't forgotten about it. It's just a little bit in the future, and I can assure you that time frame is going to come quicker than we can imagine. So a couple general operations updates. Anybody hit off the new mats?
Yeah.
They better?
Yeah.
Excellent. JD and his team installed the new mats, I think about a week ago. Kudos to him. We did this in-house. They removed the old mats. They chiseled out that brick border, re-leveled that concrete. They cut some drainage into that concrete pad, and then these new mats were installed. They are a Turf Hound brand, which is probably the brand we should have gone with from day one. But I've heard good comments on those already. I showed this picture here. This was an aerial I took of the range a couple days before they installed the mats. You can see this is the pad where the mats go on. And we were off the practice range mats for about a month while they pulled up the old ones. So for like 30 days or so straight, we hit just off of the grass. And you could see that they make a difference, because that's the worst the range has looked in probably 5 years. So we're on the mats for the next week. JD has asked for some time to let the turf recover, and then we're going to go back to the rotation with back and forth between the turf and the mats. Just some food and beverage update. First of all, I want to thank everybody for their support of our temporary operations. We've really seen an increase in activity the last week or so here. Scott, Jay, Andy, their teams, I think they continue to do a great job. We are learning every single day as we go, and it'll be interesting how things have to evolve over the next couple months when activity really starts to increase, but we're ready for it. This Saturday we have the Ben Allen Band, our first concert of the season. Well, actually it's our second concert, the first one out right now. If you watched the video we put out last week, we are not going to do this at the practice range this time. We are going to try a different setup with the stage in front of the administration trailer because it is logistically it's very difficult to get food product and you all around the back of the club and then also offer restrooms and whatnot on that side of the club with that construction fence up. So we're going to try a little bit different format. I'm meeting with Scott this week to finalize the details, and then we're going to get an email out to the community so you'll know exactly what to expect. But we do anticipate a good crowd. I think we have about 200 signed up already for that. Next Thursday, the 18th, is our parking lot party. Those have been really well attended, lots of fun. So again, we ask for RSVPs for those, primarily so we can let our food truck vendors know how many to plan for, okay? So just go online, make your reservation. If you decide not to show up, no big deal. We just want to be able to give the food trucks an idea of how many to prepare for. The food and beverage team added a wine tasting to the calendar, June 25th. This is going to be a little bit smaller event. I think they're limiting this to 30 or so. Depending on how well it goes, I could see more of these being added through season. Again, we're on 7 days a week for lunch. Dinner service Wednesday and Friday. We are asking, please make reservations for dinner service. I can't stress that enough. The reason for that is we only have so much inventory space for product. Jay is changing those menus weekly. We are doing 3 items for dinner, but we need to know how many to plan for. We really don't have the space to have big surprises. So help us out. We need reservations for dinner. Continue to change the lunch menu monthly. Shuttle service, we are ready when the need is there. So we are watching the parking situation every single day. I usually walk the parking lot 3 points through the day, and we're ready to pull the trigger. Scott has a logistical plan. It's going to be an on-call service, and we have pickup locations identified through the community, and that's going to be distributed on a map that Scott and Mary are working on. So when we're ready, when the need is there and we pull the trigger, all that information will be sent out to you, and it should be pretty clear on how it works. And again, the purpose of the shuttle service is to help alleviate the parking challenges we're going to have during peak times. And then lastly, Scott and Andy, they're talking about some karaoke and trivia, non-food type events and things that we can do through the season. Utilize that space, get people out. But doesn't necessarily put a lot of pressure on the kitchen, just for large orders of food and whatnot. And we are actively right now discussing adding a night of dinner service. So that'll probably happen in the next week or so here. We're just watching activity. And then we will add a night, and then if that is well supported, all 3 nights are well supported, we'll look at adding another night also. I do not see more than 4 nights of dinner service this season. Reason for that is, by design, we went down to a pretty pretty small staff to get through these temporary facilities. Primarily because when you go into something like this, it's very difficult to staff with seasonal employees. It's just not, these types of operations are just not attractive enough for someone who's coming here to work seasonally. So we have our core team members only. It's about 6 of them out front and 6 in the kitchen. And you know how many nights of service we're offering has to fit the amount of labor hours we have available. But we will be adding dinner services. Okay, brings us to Q&A. So, Deb and Mary both have microphones. So if you want to ask a question, and I think there's one right up here first, Deb, they'll come to you with a microphone. And if you could just for the crowd, just let everyone know who you are. Thank you.
Do I have to push a button? Okay.
Hi, my name is Sharon Siciliano, and my question is this. I never knew anything about the Ben Allen Band. I'm just finding a little about it, so I thought maybe if you could tell everybody a little bit of something, maybe more people will be willing to come and join us. Thank you.
Sure. Like as far as like who the band is?
Yeah.
So they are a local country band from Fort Myers, and I think they were on, was it The Voice?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I don't even know. But I've heard they put on an awesome show, really good band, very popular here locally. They've played some large venues. Scott booked this last year. So again, they're primarily country is a type of music.
And we're lucky to have them.
Yes, very much so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. I just wanted to clarify one thing. I think you said that the dining room was not going to be enlarged. Is that a correct statement?
I'm sorry, say that again?
The dining room is not going to be enlarged?
That's correct. So the original plan there was that back wall that kind of, I'm trying to describe where it's at. It kind of runs perpendicular to the Four Seasons room. The original plan was to push that out, and it was going to add about another 4 tables. And when the committee and the architect went through the kind of value phase, it was an item that was cut due to the sheer cost because it required us to tear open the entire roof, and we were only really picking up 16 or 20 seats.
Mary Ellen Taney from Ravens. I have 2 questions on the bars. Is that outside bar covered?
Yes.
Okay. And then the inside bar is considerably larger than the one we have right now.
Yes.
What about the indoor? What about the table seating in that bar?
That whole area enlarges. Off the top of my head, I don't know the number of seats in that area. Pardon?
About 150.
About 150 indoor seats in the New Lakeview Lounge.
With tables?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so it'll be a mixture. There's some booth seating, there's some high top seating and table seating, and then the seats around the bar.
And now, is it the Four Seasons room that's going to stay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
There's one way over
Way over there. Oh.
here. Barry's got one in the back.
John Maholcha. I have major concerns about the future of Countryside. A lot of precedents have been set from 2 years ago till now. And the buzzword now, of course, is rebranding. I'll have a question after I say a few things as far as rebranding. We all know that Project 2.0 was voted in by the board and it wasn't voted in by the community. We know that everything that I've heard as far as what the litigants have done to this community as far as costs and whatever. If you go back to April of 2022 at a board meeting, and it was voted down 5-4 to put the brakes on and just regroup. That was voted down, costing us more money, and also taking legal counsel saying that we could do the second vote, which brought the third vote. So as I look to the future, and we have this rebranding, I would like to know, as far as, you know, the word out there, and again, you're here to dispel rumors and whatever, that this rebranding is gonna cost about $11 million. That, you know, we need to match the outside of what we've got on the inside and change colors and all this kind of stuff. What is the timetable? You must have something as far as a timetable on. I know you're planning on getting a consultant to figure out some of these things. What is that going to cost? What's the timetable of that? What are you planning on doing? And when's it going to happen? Because I guarantee you, at least 75% plus of the people that live in 3-story condos have absolutely no idea of what's going on as far as this reserve study that potentially can cost us major, major dollars in 2025 on top of whatever the board is thinking of doing as far as the rebranding. So if you could give me some kind of idea about potential costs, timetables, what you're thinking of doing, so that hopefully the board and or the new board in March can make some sound decisions for the community.
Ms. Michalzik, I answered that question for you in November. We record these meetings, and that recording was sent out to the community, so anybody who's interested in my answer in November can go back and watch that one, because you asked the same question. The information is also included in the strategic plan that is available on our website with a dollar amount allocated to that project. It is not $11 million. We're talking it's like $20,000 maybe, where we work with a marketing firm to reestablish who Countryside is within Collier County. It's pretty simple. Again, answered it several months ago, and that answer is available on the website. Thank you.
Hi, it's Irene James from Providence Way. I have a question with regards to the plastics for the outside bar. Is it disposable or is it reusable?
Most likely, we haven't gotten that far yet, but we're looking, there's a product that's called melamine, and it's basically, you're aware of it, you're shaking your head. It's a washable plateware. I can tell you right now, plateware will 100% be melamine. Some of the issues that they run into with the melamine glassware is when you run it through the dish machine, it etches, it gets cloudy, and doesn't last long. So that's something that Scott, Jay, and Andy, when they get closer to that process, they'll be looking into all that. I can tell you 100% the plateware is going to be reusable melamine. If anything, if we do go fully disposable, it'd be just the cups, plastic cups. But we are going to look at the melamine product. Thank you.
Hi, Gina Silva. Couple of things. First of all, I can't wait for this to be done.
Me neither.
I have a question. When you talk about speed of service, when you are servers, always write the stuff down first. Are they going to have handhelds that'll go right to the kitchen?
Yeah. Yeah. We actually have, I've been bugging Jeff for a couple months now. We actually have a device that we have on site now that I want the service team to work with over the next 12 months so we can work out any bugs. But yeah, the intent is to have a fully mobile point of sale system, especially for use at the pool. So 100%, yes. Yep, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Judy TG Harbor Coast, and I'm a member of Country Hollow, and we've been a member here since 1988. We bought pre-construction.
Awesome.
And I want to tell you, this is one of the nicest places to belong as far as the people. The people make this club.
You got
And
it.
I stand behind that 120%. And I think we need that. And this thing needs to be. My question to you is in regards to being here so long. Number one, as far as like with the driving range, there are no rules that state what the clothing should be or behavior or who to direct things to. I'd like to see something posted in the future year to come as a possibility to we have what the dress code is, so to speak. I don't believe that the member should have to go to somebody else and say you're dressed inappropriately. But if you have a board that states what the dress code is, you can point to the board. That's the one of the easiest things to do.
Yep. It's a great idea. We'll have one we will have one by February.
Okay, that's great. The second question I have is, we were on hole 11, teeing off. I almost got hit by a golf ball from the driving range.
Yeah.
I counted 14 golf balls from the men's tee to the ladies' tee laying there. That's a danger, and I'm concerned about that. And we know we got some big hitters out there, and it might have been because the range was pushed up. I know JD's aware of it because we've talked about it before, but safety's important. And you don't want to be out hitting on hole 11, teeing off, and getting hit with a golf ball from the driving range.
Agreed.
It'll hurt. So that's something I'd like to see addressed. I know my husband and I talked about the height of the nets and all that. I don't know exactly what the details are, but I think it's something we should be aware of for safety. My last and third question is, we are walkers. We do walk and play 9 holes as often as we can. Going out at 4 o'clock is very difficult to get 9 holes in, especially when it's crowded. I'd like to, at some point in time, consider the people that are walking, that maybe we can get out a little bit earlier. Now, Steph has allowed it right now, but the season's going to pick up, and that's going to change. I'm just asking that to be addressed. Yeah, last thing I had to say is about walking. While Steve and I are out there walking, people out there with bikes, mopeds, walking their dogs at 3:30 in the afternoon. That is not sunset and that's not sunrise. We've taken pictures at other golf courses of the sign that you have directed that says about guests and whatnot. One of the courses we played said absolutely the only reason to be on the golf course is if you're golfing. All other things at the bottom said you would be at some point either fined or ticketed or something, saying that there's a responsibility that you're only out there for golf. And it's really hard when you have to say to people, they're fishing right there in front of you, you don't want to hit them with a golf ball. And I don't know what to do. Every time it's happened, we've called the pro shop, and somebody has come out, but it's not as timely because they have, 3:30, 4:35 o'clock, you run into staffing and whatnot. But that's my other concern, is we always were able to walk and play golf, and now I worry that you're going to get hurt when you're out there. You got kids that are out there riding bikes, you got people out there fishing out golf balls, all kinds of things going on between 3 and 6 o'clock, and I know a lot of you have seen it. And at some point, we need a set of rules that we can follow, and everybody knows what they are. I don't understand why we see people out there on bicycles and during the golf, while you're playing golf. You don't want to hurt anybody, and that's my concern is safety.
Those rules exist. It sounds like we need to reset some expectations. So I can promise you I'll take care of the dress code sign, and I'll go back and spend some time with Steph and JD and talk through some of that.
The other thing is the AEDs. At one of the golf courses we played, on the cart sign, it told where the AEDs were if you needed them. Now, thank God we've not had this episode happen, but I was just at church the other day, and we had an AED have to come out. An AED is an automatic defibrillator. It's what's going to possibly save your life. But we need to know where they're at. I know there are 9 of them, if I'm not mistaken, throughout the whole entire countryside. And it'd just be good if you could look up there and know, because you don't want to just call the pro shop. That's not always the answer. You got to know where to go and what to do. And those steps are not there. But Steve has taken pictures of other courses. I'm happy to share those photos with you.
Yeah.
Because I believe bring a solution. Don't just have a complaint, but have a solution or an offering. That's it. Everybody have a beautiful day.
And just as an FYI, we do have signs on the car. If there's an issue out there, your first call should be to 911.
Exactly.
You know, we work with the Cuyahoga County Fire Department. The golf course is zoned. They know how to access the golf courses in various areas. And we have an AED card that resides at the golf shop and on our Ranger cards. The AED unit is on each of those. So, but if you could send me any information you have, I'd love to take a look at it.
Would you address how the food is going to be served around the bar?
Can you elaborate the question?
Well, people that sit at the bar are going to perhaps order food or,
Yep.
okay.
I hope so.
And then how is that going to be handled? How is it going, how are the dishes, so the servers? You didn't address that. I'm wondering if you.
So people sitting at the bar itself, they're the responsibility of the bartender. So the bartender would take the order, the food order, present the menu, so on and so forth. That food comes from the kitchen just like every other meal. So there's either a food runner that brings it out, or the bartender would come back to the kitchen and grab those orders. They know what they're waiting for. And then they get cleaned back in the kitchen just as they normally would. Remember, we have a separate satellite kitchen facility that is just providing service to the outdoor area, the pool bar and the seating around the pool. So that's its own kind of area. It's close to the pool. It will have its own menu, its own plateware. It has its own dishwasher area. So all that's kind of serviced within itself. Cleaning, no, the bartender won't be cleaning the dishes. No, the bartender would take your food order, and when you're done eating, they bring your plate to the kitchen to get cleaned. Either the bartender or we will have bus staff, bussers, or food runners will bring your dirty plateware back. Yes.
Ann Wright
Hi.
from Ranger. Getting back to people being on the golf course after golfing hours, yes, I've seen bicycles and so forth. But during playtime, especially when the grandchildren are visiting, and it's great, I have seen people letting children, as young as maybe 10, 11, 12, drive the golf carts. Seen some real close misses, near misses, and that really needs to be addressed when people have their children and grandchildren on the course.
Understood. I agree with you wholeheartedly, and I certainly don't want to pass this off, but you know, we all need to participate in that as well. You know, if you have grandkids in town, you're going. You know, I don't know that anyone in this room is letting them drive golf carts, but we shouldn't be letting them do that either. We shouldn't be telling our grandkids or family visiting, you can go out and ride your bike on the golf course. We can certainly get some reminders out. I agree. We need to do that. Need to reset expectations, but you know, there's to put it in perspective, there's 70 or so employees and 2,000 homeowners. So it's a partnership. You know, we have to be in this together. But I will get some reminders out. I promise you that in the very, very near future. Mary's coming with the microphone.
The question I have is, what are the Rangers' responsibilities to getting people to move, you know, proceed? I've had a number of people tell me that they're out there and the play kind of can slow down at times.
Yeah.
And they said they have sent things to Rangers, but nothing's happening. What does it take to keep the speed of play going? We're going to do it every 7 minutes is what our tea times are, correct?
You know, this, again, I have a lot of faith in my department heads, and I do not spend a whole lot of time in every single department every single day. So this really needs to be a conversation. I'd be glad to sit down with you and Stephanie so that we can get you the correct information. I would be doing Stephanie a disservice if I tried to tell you the specifics of all that.
I'm just curious what the Rangers' responsibilities are.
Yeah.
What can they say? What can be done?
They can encourage, they are encouraged to tell groups to keep up with pace.
The group in front of them?
It depends on where the lag in the golf course is. It's not always the group immediately in front. So the ranger's responsibility, they have an idea of what's going on throughout the entire golf course. In the pro shop, we have a GPS that shows where every cart is within the golf course. We have a notification in the shop that tells Sean and the team in the golf shop which carts are running behind pace. They are then able to communicate to the rangers and send them specifically to certain areas. Sometimes by the time the rangers get there, the pace is already picked up. There's a lot that goes into it. That's about as well versed as I am, but I'd be glad to sit with you and Stephanie and get some more detail. Any other questions? Mr. Franzen, you want to say anything?
I'm sure glad Joe's here. He can answer all these questions. A lot of weight on his shoulders, especially with all that we're doing right now and all the changes and trying to keep us happy as well as get everything done as well. So thank you all for coming today. I appreciated all the questions and comments. I think it was great. And we look forward to having another one of these when we have more information that we can share about progress and so forth. So thanks again for coming.